Okay, it is 7 o'clock. So we will call the October meeting of the Hartsville-Charleston County Planning Commission to order. Shutter, would you call the roll, please? Here. Okay, we do have a quorum. Next is our approval of the minutes. You've had actually the minutes since last week, and now you've got a paper copy, but you have had time to look over these. So if anyone has any corrections or additions, please say so at this time. Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve? Mr. Welch makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Mr. Thomas seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say no. The September minutes are approved. We don't have any changes to the agenda, no public hearings, no old business, so we'll get right into new business. Our first item under new business is a rezoning request by Jeff and Pam Gregory for 3.25 acres from R2 to R3. This is on Front Street. Jeff, you or Pam, which one of y'all is the talker? Come on up, Jeff, if you don't mind, to the podium over here and just tell us what you want to do.
All right. Actually, I'm not sure for what we're going to do yet. I'm doing this to have more options to do whatever I want to do, because I think right now we're getting it surveyed the end of this month where I can get a dozer in there and clean it up anyway. Because I've got another property in front of it too. It's two parcels there that's getting done. But like I said, I just want some more options to do what I want with it than with the R2 option.
Okay. Sounds good. Does anybody have any questions for Jeff? Okay. Ms. Rosalie?
Yes, and looking at this property, if you look in your packet, I went ahead and looked at the zoning map and what the zones were on the surrounding properties. And there is a lot of R2 in the area, but also if you look, if you can see on there that there is a lot of R3 as well. So it's not necessarily out of the ordinary in order to have this as an R3 lot. I know they'd like to do future development. And that area could stand to be developed as well.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah, I didn't have any issue with the zone change. My questions were basically, asking what they wanted to do with the property, but it sounds like we're not sure. I'm sure it's residential at some point, so we know it's going to fit in with kind of the character of the area. And my only question there was in the ordinance, there was in section 5.043, it just asks about, are there sufficient urban facilities, including public sewer? So I don't know what those sufficient services are. I couldn't find it anywhere, but I just want to make sure that there was enough capacity, I guess, water and sewer for the whatever's going in.
And there. I think, like he said, he needs to clean it up first, and
the sewer line runs right in through the middle of it.
Oh,
the main sewer.
Okay.
Okay. So, okay. Anybody have any questions for Ms. Rosalie or for Jared? Okay. Any discussion? Any motions? Anything? Yes, sir.
I'm looking ahead here. Jeff, you talked about the second parcel you had there on Front Street. Are you looking to get it rezoned also?
Yeah, the small one that's in front of it.
Okay.
You haven't done it yet, Jeff. This is just, you said you're gonna,
It's getting surveyed in.
oh, okay, okay. So it's just not ready to come to us yet. Okay.
As far as
Both-
what
both
I'm gonna
parcels
do,
are
yeah,
listed
no.
on the application.
Oh, okay, okay,
Both parcels are listed on the application.
okay.
Until I get it cleaned up, you know,
I understand. Did that answer your question, David?
It did, but it does bring up another one of how large that parcel is.
Together or separate?
Well, that's what I'm wondering, is the lot size that's on the application of 3.25, is that just for the large lot, or is that including the small lot too?
I
Is that-
believe it's combined, like.
Is that right, Jeff? Is that both of them together
Both.
will make a 3.25 acre tract?
Parcel 27 is a quarter of an acre,
Okay.
and then, parcel 26 is the three.
Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion to approve the rezone request.
Have a motion, Shudda to approve this. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Harper. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, please say no. Does pass. Thank you, Jeff.
thank you.
Next on our agenda is a site plan review. This is for the new Board of Education field house, which we discussed before. Tonight, they want to we want us to look at the site plan. Dr. Satterfield, are you going to present this or are you going to let John do it? Okay. Whoever it is, please come to the podium, state your name so the Shudda can get them for the minutes.
John Cheney. I'm Don Collins.
All right, y'all go ahead.
So over at the existing practice field that the school system has, there is a fairly level site next to the parking lot that the Dr. Satterfield has been working towards for quite a while to get a new training facility and practice facility for the football team and other athletics. And so this is actually the first phase of a two-phase project that we have discussed in the past with the current field house that it's going to be renovated after this project is complete. And so this project is about 7,800 square feet. And so the staff comments were to make sure that it complies with the floodplain ordinance of the zoning ordinance, and we do. We're over a foot above the base flood elevation there. And so other highlights of the project is we're going to do some work on the parking lot to increase capacity there, put some new sidewalk in. And I think that the renderings, if you've seen those in the paper recently, that is a very nice looking building over in that part of town. And so it adds to that general area. But if there's any questions.
And Don, the utilities run right down College Street.
They
right
do.
beside the building,
So no, there's, we've got to relocate a power pole that's on site and take out some existing trees, a couple of trees that's within the footprint of the existing, of the proposed field house. And then, we do border up against the existing practice field, but we're staying off of it. And we're going to redo some fencing that's been out there for a while that needs to be updated. But so no, it's generally will be a very nice facility, and especially when we do phase 2, that will update the existing field house into public restrooms.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for John or Don? Okay, Rosalie?
In looking at the site plan, it does meet all the the restrictions and all the requirements that we have for this. I have met with them and they do meet the floodplain elevation that they needed to have. They also have delivered to the office the plans that are approved by the State Fire Marshal's office. So anything of this nature has to get approval from the State Fire Marshal's office first before we could even think about starting a building permit for this. So they've done their due diligence and
Excuse me.
meets all the requirements.
Thank you, Ms. Rosalie. Anybody have any questions? Any questions for Ms. Rosalie? Jerry?
No, I didn't identify any issues. I looked at the zone, against zoning ordinance, didn't have any issues there. They answered the question about the flood elevation. So other than that, the questions they answered for me, I don't have any.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Jared? All right. Any questions for John, Don, Rosalie, or Jared? Okay, discussion? Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Have a motion by Mr. Thomas to approve. Before we get to any voting, I want to make it known, since I'm on the school board, I am going to abstain from this vote. Have a second by Mr. Noller. So we have a motion by Mr. Thomas to approve, second by Mr. Noller. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, please say no. Does pass. Thank you, John. Thank you, Don. Next, we have a couple of sketch plats. First one is a sketch plat for a 9-lot subdivision on 7.15 acres. This is at 345 Sam Beasley Road by L&E Property Developers. Is anyone here representing them? All right. Mr. Moreland, good to see you, buddy. Good.
Right, all right. Yeah, we're just looking to get our plat approved. On the agenda, I think it showed 9 lots. Survey was actually able to get 11 on there, so that's a little bit of a change. But wanted to bring that to y'all's attention, but residential homes, kind of same thing what Mr. Reach has been building already in the community already, so
Okay.
same thing.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Moreland? Okay. Ms. Rosalie?
Thank you. So as you can see from the plat that this is zoned R1, which does allow for it to have the lots 15,000 square feet. They do have sewer available. Just wanted to point out, there's just a little bit, it's a very unique piece of property. All around it, there is a flood zone, but all this has is just one little bit at the very end. It's maybe 5 square feet. It's in a flood zone there. I don't see any issues. They've met all of the different requirements that we needed to have for a sketch plat. This looks good to me.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Ms. Rosalie? Jack, oh, Mr. Noller?
Fire hydrants in that area.
I don't see any notated here on the sketch plat, but I can make a note of that to ask the water department and see how far away this fire hydrant would be.
Of course, they would have to come back with the plat at some point anyway, which would show all of that. This is just a sketch plat, so kind of like a.
There will be
preliminary.
one installed.
Do what?
There will be one installed. Engineering.
Did you hear him,
plat,
Mr. Nolan? Okay. Any other questions about? Yes, sir.
So with this being an 11 lot subdivision, we would also need sidewalks also, correct?
Ms.
Yes, that's
Rosalie?
correct.
Have you looked into that?
No, sir, I haven't.
We did pass that, what, a couple of years ago. Jared, do you know the answer to that?
I do not, what's the trigger for it? I mean,
I don't know. I
You
don't
didn't-
remember.
I-
It's been a couple of
I
years.
didn't see that in there.
Our design is gonna have sidewalks
You are,
anyway.
you are,
Yeah.
you already
We're
knew that.
prepared for that, yes.
Okay. Uh, That's something you and Miss Rosalie probably need to discuss at some point in time, because that's a very good question. You know,
I know this is in the county and not in the city limits, but it does have sewer. It's just right outside the city limits. So I don't know if the county, if that would be the, the determining factor. Right?
well, I mean, he's already said they're gonna put them in, so. Jared, do you have anything?
I mean, I had a couple of questions during the review, but it looks like they've answered, I had a question about, you know, referencing the firm panel, but looks like they've referenced that on the map and in the notes. I guess my only two questions, and, but again, if they're applicable, they may not be, I don't know if you're gonna be phasing this at all, or are you gonna,
I'm sorry,
are you gonna be phasing this at all, or are you gonna be building it all just one shot?
No,
Okay.
one shot. One
So
shot.
non-issue there.
Mhm.
And then, I didn't know if there's any easements currently. I was just looking at like that, entry coming in.
No, I think we're wide enough. From what I can tell, I didn't see any easements that we needed.
Okay.
We're wide enough at the
Yeah.
start, so.
Other than that, yeah, it looks like it's got everything answered.
Okay, anybody have any
We can-
questions for?
We'll check
I'm
on the
sorry.
sidewalks and make sure. But
Okay.
I'm assuming since they're outside of that area, but they may or may not be, but we'll check on that.
Okay. Any questions for Jared? Discussion? I like the fact they were planning on going ahead and putting in the sidewalks. I think that gives the subdivision a very nice look. To me, it promotes safety. When people walk down to their mailbox, you have to have that community mailbox now, and it's just so much safer and everything to be able to. Yeah, that seems to go with development, is more kids for the schools.
That's right.
Just turn around, I think it'd be wild for a bus, turn around. Big enough for a bus.
I will, yeah.
I think any road that meets the county specifications is big enough for that. Am I wrong about that? That's what I'm talking about. But they have to build it to the county's specifications. That Mr. Scruggs would have to sign off on that. And if it doesn't, I'd say it would fall on Mr. Scruggs to make sure, since he has to approve all that. So, so I would think that it should automatically.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Have a motion by Mr. Welch to approve. The second by Mr. Thomas. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say no. Does pass unanimously.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. We do have another sketch plat. This is for a 5-lot subdivision of 5.8 acres by Fleming Homes, and this is on Sulphur College Road. Anyone here representing Mr. Fleming? Please state your name, sir, and then,
Hello, Bo AG Professional Land Surveying. I'm here representing Fleming Homes.
okay.
Answer any questions you got, hopefully.
Well, why don't you just kind of tell us a quick overview of what,
So my client acquired 3 lots out on Sulphur College Road back in June or July, I believe it was, when the auction took place. We've done a little bit more due diligence since then, got some more soils acquired, and we're gonna turn 3 lots into 5 lots. That's our plan anyways.
you got soils and everything good
Yes,
enough
sir.
for 5 building lots?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for this gentleman? Ms. Rosalie?
And looking at the plat, you can tell that they have adequate soils area for all of these lots. It does meet all the restrictions that we have for the lot size for that area. These are all zoned. I believe these were zoned,
R1.
R1. That was the lot that had 4 different zones on it, and you guys, it all went through zoning and became R1. And Mr. Ag did meet all the different requirements that GNRC was asking about and forwarded a new survey. So looks good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for Ms. Rosalie? David?
Rosalie, do we know what the size of the water line is running down Sulphur College? Is it 4 or 6-inch line?
I don't know exactly. It comes to mind that it's a 4-inch water line.
Do you have,
Previous documentation showed it to be a 4-inch water line. It should be shown on the plat.
Four. Any other questions for Ms. Rosalie? Jared?
So, I did a quick review. I know they did some changes to the sketch plat that they provided. This latest revision. Looks like they answered a lot of the questions about adjoining properties, flood notes, elevation intervals. I guess, yeah, going back to Rosalie had mentioned about the zoning map, looks like the map that was provided in the analysis was an older map, and we actually just went through and updated quite a few of the zoning maps. So the R1 is correct throughout the site. Look at my notes here. Yeah, so the only other questions I had were, and it's hard to see on here. My eyes are not that good, but I'm trying to figure out, I'm sure there's a couple of lots, I guess, in question, maybe the 2 center lots, 2B and 3A, just making sure they meet that 100-foot minimum lot width.
So I took the time to design those lots so that at the front building setback, they were all be 100 foot.
Okay,
So you're good there.
okay,
Yep.
perfect. And then, again, I can't quite see it, but the question about the rear setbacks, showing, looks like they're shown as 10 feet here and the district being 25.
So to explain that, I always omit the rear setback when soils is incurred because you're not gonna be able to build back there anyways. So I set the setback at 10 foot off the soils area. It kind
Okay.
of becomes a moot point when you go to codes. for the
Yep.
bit. So I just go ahead and take care of it on the plat.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
Thank you for that. And then, just a question about the 40% maximum lot coverage. I didn't know the dimensions. I didn't see kind of dimensions of the building, but
I think all the lots exceed an acre and we're gonna be building like 2,500 square foot homes. So your lot coverage is way less than that.
okay.
So, yeah. I mean, I can put some kind of notification on the preliminary plat if you want me to, but I don't know what exactly you want me, how you want it to read.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that it met that 40% maximum. But
Oh, yeah, we're
and
good.
I think if you're, as you go forward, we'll probably see more of that hashed out on the next plan. So,
Yep. Whatever you want.
no, I think we're good for right now.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Okay,
And I'd just like to point out too, as far as the lot coverage, during the permitting process, that is always reviewed. And if the structure that is wanting to be built on that property exceeds the 40%, they're not able to get a permit for that.
yes, sir.
Is there a water hydrant on the 25 there?
So the nearest one's gonna be right around the corner when you get on Crenshaw. I can put the notation for the distance on the next version if you want.
So he's saying the closest one is up on Crenshaw.
You go around the corner up there, head
Right,
north on Sulphur
right.
College, it's right there around the corner on Crenshaw.
So So if you would, on the next preliminary plat, just notate the distance to the fire
I'll do it.
hydrant. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Other questions? Any questions? No, nothing, nobody has any questions for Jared? Discussion? Motions?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Have a motion by Mr. Welch to approve, second by Shutterbug. Any other discussion and or questions? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say no. Does pass.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. In talking to Miss Rosalie, we don't have really anything on, do we have anything on food trucks? Or we just? Okay. So we don't really have anything on food trucks or RVs ready for tonight. So that concludes our agenda, unless any member has a question or anything. Yes, sir.
I do have one, as we're starting to divide up into smaller and smaller lots out in the county, and we've run on more and more 4-inch lines. I know that the water department has a plan to increase some of those lines in the future. My concern, I guess, is fire safety. All these lots were, on this particular project, were over an acre, which has been kind of the standard. That's as small as we go in the county. But as we become more dense, those acre lots start getting a little smaller on some projects. It's a concern that I see that we might need to be thinking about as a body of how we're going to plan for that.
Okay, good question.
I know in attending the water department meetings, there has been some discussion as far as, okay, what is the process going forward? Since the county is really growing and there is a lot of development, how can we communicate with the other entities, Tri-County and the water department, to make sure that we have the infrastructure for the various projects that are coming forward? So there is a plan to start putting together for that communication to happen.
That's good. That's, every department needs to work together, and, that could include roads and everything, really, because without infrastructure, everything could grind to a halt, So, yes, sir.
And on that subject there, so, one of our requirements for approving a subdivision is, do we have the infrastructure as a county for that subdivision? So knowing what those limits are and how close we're getting to them is really pertinent to the decisions we're making. So Rosalie, if you can help us get that information as soon as possible, as we're having more and more subdivisions coming in, that would be very helpful.
Yeah, if the water department knew of any areas that they just can't service or something would have trouble with, we probably need to know that moving forward. You especially, since you'd be the point of contact.
And when individuals are coming in with these development plans, I am suggesting that they go and talk with the water department to see, do they have taps available? Do they have all of the machinery that they need to have in order to, have those lots be viable? So I am directing them to talk to the various utilities. So, but yes, I will definitely find out.
Okay, good point. Because I don't think it's going to slow down a whole lot. How many lots have we approved tonight? 11 or 12? No, 11 in one, and 5, about almost 20, I guess, when you add them all together. So, okay. Anybody else have anything? Do I have a motion to adjourn? Katie makes a motion to adjourn. Mr. Noller seconds. We are adjourned. Thank y'all.